All right, folks, let's have a little fun. This is gonna be fun. So let's apply your knowledge. Let's apply. What do you know? We're in a twin system, right? Take the virgin, you turn it upside down. It's a dead sheep. It's one thing one way, but when you turn it upside down, it's something else. It's a twin system, right side up, upside down, good and evil. Let's just do a quick look at the serpent folder. Let's go to the Ouroboros folder real quick. Y'all remember Beyonce, who they're doing they're having masses for Beyonce now, where she's wearing, a cape with Nefertiti on the back. Let's look at Beyonce at the Grammy Awards. There's her dress. Let me click on it. Now remember, she was pregnant with twins, and so let me show you what was on her dress. She had a dragon. There's the eye of the dragon. There's its, fin-like ear. There's its open mouth, and it's wrapped around. And if I just drew in like one more of these lines, it would be a completely wrapped around. I just wanted to make it nice and easy to view those. So there it is. So there's the dragon, there's the eye, there's the open mouth wrapped around. That's the Ouroboros. It's inside of an isotoxal star. Okay, now this is so important. If you understand this, you'll understand the Google Doodle. But if you don't understand it, and you don't understand that everything is transitioning towards a different thing. Good is turning to bad, bad is turning to good. Woe unto them who call good bad and bad good, male and female. The whole system is changing. It's becoming androgynous, isn't it? The whole system. They're teaching gender neutrality. And my kid Scully came home one day and said, Dad, they're teaching us there's 7 different genders in school. I was like, what? That was in 8th grade. I'm not kidding. I was like, okay, well, there's male and female. Okay, and if someone wants to, because in their mind they think there's something else, that doesn't change what it is. But wait, this is going to get really good. It's going to be great. Okay, so this is called an isotoxal star. And see, so you have Cain, I put Cain and Abel. And so there's the Ouroboros eating its own tail. That's cannibal. See, Cain and Abel. What a perfect dress for Beyonce to be wearing. I mean, it's got an Ouroboros inside of an isotoxal star, and she's carrying twins. I mean, it's like, wow, that's amazing. It's demonic, but it's perfect. It's perfect. She's got twins inside of an isotoxal star with the Ouroboros. Now, let me give you a couple definitions. Guys, let me tell you something. The key to understanding stuff is get your knowledge, get your knowledge going. So look at this as like a really fun class in college. Okay, now watch this. I want to show you just how obvious. What I do is I put a clear plastic layover on top of the image. That way, when I move the clear plastic layover, you can see. Now, you see this black line right here? I could have colored that green, and then I could have colored this green all right in here. And that means that the green would have been touching the mouth of the serpent dragon. But see, look at the outline of the face of the female, the virgin. I just keep watching. This is good stuff. So I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to drag this over and watch. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Let me shrink it a little more. There we go. So watch this fit right on there. Bam. Look at that. So, I'm not, augmenting. I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing you what I drew in. There it is. Look, bam, right there. Okay. So now let's look at isotox. Let's look up Ouroboros, and let's look up isotoxal. I have all that stuff in here because this is just such great knowledge. This is such good stuff. And then we're going to apply all of this to the Google Doodle, okay? So here we go. Now remember, what's the name of the first 2 kids born? Cain, child of the devil, the serpent, and Abel, the sheep, serpent and sheep. And the serpent's cannibalizing the sheep inside one host body. So I've got my own Cain and Abel thing going on inside of me until I got converted. And then I got converted and I was able to see the truth. Okay, because once you get flipped upside down and your eye becomes single, because see, the Bible says if your eye is single, the whole body's full of light. But you got this going on. You want to, and then once you get turned upside down, you're like the other half's able to perceive and go, oh my gosh, when you turn the virgin upside down, it's a dead sheep. Who are the sheep? We are the sheep. Not good. Watch. So here we go. Let's do it. Ouroboros. Okay, this is the same thing that she's got on her dress, an ancient symbol depicting the serpent or dragon eating its own tail, originating in ancient Egyptian iconography. Okay, the Ouroboros entered Western civilization via Greek magical tradition and was adopted as a symbol in Gnosticism and Hermeticism, and most notably in alchemy. Okay, now watch this. Here we go. So there's the Ouroboros. So if you want to type into Google Images, type in Ouroboros, you'll see all kinds of dragons, snakes eating their own tail. That's what's on Beyonce, and she's carrying twins. Okay, now because the twin system is what that is literally the definition of what we're in. We're in a self-cannibalizing system. And the human host body is a transmutation device for self-cannibalizing energy, because you're your own cannibal. Hey, what about the band, the Fine Young Cannibals? Okay, so anyway, so just entered my mind. I was like, hey, I remember those guys. Self-cannibalization is a practice of eating oneself, also called auto-cannibalism, auto-sarcophagy, okay? Which specifically denotes the normal process of self-degradation by cells. Okay? Now, watch this. Guess what pharaohs used to be buried in? A sarcophagus. Sarcophagus. It means flesh eating. What a weird thing to be buried in. Something called a flesh eating sarcophagus. That's weird. Okay, so let's go down and let's look at, let's see. So let's see, we saw self-cannibalization. Let's go to, okay, just scroll down. It's kind of hard for me to read those little words. Okay, by the way, this is in the Indian society, the Shiva Lingam. They worship this too. That is a penis coming through, entering into a vagina. And this is worshipped. Just go look it up. The Yoni and the Lingam. Just go look them up yourselves. I've already done it. I don't want to get too... Okay, sarcophagus. Just prove it real quick. Here we go. Sarcophagus comes from the Greek word sarkophagos, meaning limestone used for coffin, but the Greek literally translates to mean flesh eating. And that's what the sepulchers of the pharaohs were in a sarcophagus, because that was where this system originated. Okay, now watch. Well, it originated in Garden of Eden, but for me being able to show it to you, Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Okay, now here we go. Here's what an isotoxal star is, okay? Isotoxal is the same thing that was on Beyonce's dress. Let's see. An isotoxal or edge transitive, if its symmetries act transitively on its edges, informally this means that there is only one type of edge to the object. Given two edges, there is a translation, rotation, and or reflection that will move one edge to the other while leaving the region occupied by the object unchanged. Okay, so imagine the good you becoming the bad you, your good reflection becoming an evil reflection. And so an isotoxal star is something that they use, as a geometric outward manifestation to convey what they're doing. So here she is. Here's Beyonce wearing wearing a dress that's got an Ouroboros eating its own tail with the Virgin inside of an isotoxal star, and she's pregnant with twins. That is just, I mean, it's sick and twisted, but it's amazing. It's like, wow, that is so crazy, but she's got it exactly right. So anyway, it's mind-boggling. Okay, and just so you know, I'll just I'll click on isotoxal once. What do you call her or four-pointed star? Well, it's isotoxal. Basically, 3 and 4 point stars are called isotoxal stars, like a Mercedes emblem. There you go, isotoxal. Okay, now that we did a little bit of homework and definitions, we're going to apply our knowledge. This is going to be fun. This is mind-blowing. Okay, now, this morning I got up and Dave the Wave last night got this little intro going for this video that I want to do that's going to be about probably 2 hours. But that's not this video. This video may take an hour just to give you all this data, but I want to show you the Google Doodle. Would you believe the Google Doodle is about the world becoming completely androgynous, gender, non-gender, and showing you that the end has come? Would you believe that that's what that Google Doodle is basically the gist of it? It's also like the Garden of Eden from the beginning all the way to the end. Would you believe that's what that Google Doodle is for today? Let me show you some stuff. Have y'all noticed that in society, I told you my son came home in 8th grade and he was like, Dad, they're teaching us there's 7 genders. I'm like, really? Well, there's a man and a woman, and then there's people in their minds that believe there's something else. And I'm sure they are something else in their own mind. But, you know, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. I'll tell you what, we'll leave it at that. So let's just get into this. Watch this. Let me show you something really interesting. So this morning I got up and I was looking at comments. People were saying, Jonathan, please look at the Google Doodle. I did. I already looked at it. And then I went through it and I was like, okay. But then I saw Boy Scouts go full social justice warrior. And I was like, that's crazy. Let's listen to this real quick, because this is where it kind of spun off on.
And now they've bowed even further to the liberal agenda, which wants a genderless society by
they want a genderless society.
Liberal agenda, which wants a genderless society by making the Boy Scouts just the Scouts.
Okay, so I saw that and I'm like, that is just so exactly what they're doing. That's correct. And I was like, wow. And then immediately, right then, I heard in my spirit, parthenogenesis, Jonathan, Statue of Liberty. I told you, man, sometimes I just hear so clearly the Lord just say something, and I'm like, parthenogenesis. Okay. We're going towards a what? Genderless society.
Liberal agenda, which wants a genderless society.
Which is true. There's no doubt about it. So let's go look at parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means, here it is, virgin genesis creation. And I was like, wow, is a natural form of asexual, look right here, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction by which offspring arise from a single organism and the inherent genes of that parent only. Oh, you mean kind of like get rid of the sheep and just keep the reptile. Just remember Barack Obama, his presidential portrait, reptile on one side, dead sheep on the other. It's like they want to be done with the sheep part for good. That's why I'm going to do the guillotine video that's coming up after this, because they got all their guillotines for a reason. The Bible says that all those that were beheaded for their testimony and because they didn't take the mark of the beast. So you know the guillotines are going to be cutting off a lot of heads. A lot. And the people that are afraid, they're going to be the ones that take the marks and they're going to go into re-education camps and they're going to be part of Satan's rule on earth. And those that are brave and are not afraid of death and trust in Christ, they're going to say, bring it. But the bride of Christ is leaving before that because the Bible says, pray that you're accounted worthy to escape. A, this is going to be multiple choice. A, some of the horrors that are coming on the earth. B, most of the horrors. Or C, all of the horrors. The answer is C, all of the horrors. Pray that you're accounted worthy to escape all these horrors and stand before the Son of Man. Okay, now watch this. Okay, so this is crazy. Parthenogenesis, virgin Genesis creation, is a natural form of asexual reproduction. Well, I showed you what's the largest altar in the world. It's a dead sheep and it's a penis and a vagina and it's a bunch of angels being sucked in. And it's in the mouth of a serpent. The whole building's a snake. That's what the snake eats. Well, there's also this thing called triple helix DNA, which is creating a new human host body on top of the old one. Let's take a look. Watch this. Okay, the asexual, right here, I used to catch these lizards when I was a kid. The asexual all-female whiptail species, there's a mouthful. Simodorphus neomexicanus in the center. This is the one I used to catch, which reproduces via parthenogenesis, which means asexual virgin reproduction. It is shown flanked by two sexual species having male, Ineratus left, and Tigris right, which hybridized, look, which hybridized naturally to form the C, Neo Mexicanus. That means the new species. And that is a really good example of what I'm going to show you in the Google Doodle. It's so like, oh yeah. I was like, what a weird thing to hear, Jonathan. Parthenogenesis. Now watch this. So let's, how many of y'all have heard of the Parthenon, like in Greek, right there? Yeah, the Parthenon, in Greek, in Greece, the Parthenon, this building right here. Okay, well, watch this. The Parthenon is a former temple of the Athenian Acropolis, okay, in Greece, dedicated to the goddess Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom. Okay, so, synchronized with Minerva, one's Greek, one's Roman. Okay, so it was a temple to the goddess Athena, okay? Now, and it was on the Acropolis. So if we go back here, it was part of the Athenian Acropolis. So if I click Acropolis, the word Acropolis is from the Greek word akron, highest point, extremity. Polis, city. Although the term Acropolis is generic and there are many other acropolises in Greece, the significance of the Acropolis of Athens is such that it is commonly known as the Acropolis without qualification. During ancient times, it was known more properly as Cecropia, after the legendary serpent man. Wow. Cecrops, the first Athenian king. Wow, you know what? We keep coming up with the same common denominator. A serpent mixed with a human, and the virgin. They keep kind of coming together, don't they? Well, wouldn't it be weird if the Google Doodle somehow was to interconnect with all this stuff? Wouldn't that be weird? Yeah. So here we go. Cecropia. So the Acropolis was really known as the Cecropia after the legendary serpent man Cecrops, the first Athenian king. Let's look at him. So here he is. Was a mythical king of Athens who, according to this guy, reigned 50 years. The name is not of Greek origin. To Strabo, let's see. It is said that it was born of the earth itself, had his top half shaped like a man, and the bottom half in the serpent or fishtail form. Oh, it kind of reminds me of Starbucks. There you go, right there. There's your guy. There he is. Half human, half serpent. Half human, half serpent. Yeah, pretty wild. Okay, let's go back. Okay, now let's do the Google Doodle. So the whole liberal agenda is going towards gender neutrality. Well, that's funny. Parthenogenesis is where a species becomes asexual, and gender neutrality, the genders don't matter anymore. That's kind of weird that I heard parthenogenesis and it has to do with virgin genesis. I mean, now if you call someone the wrong pronoun in certain states, they can charge you with a hate crime. If you say, "Excuse me, sir," and it's like some, transgender, they can press charges. That's insane. That's crazy because everything's gone convoluted. Gender has become this crazy convoluted, no, you can't even call someone the wrong pronoun. It was her dress. Oh, it was a him. So now you got to pay a fine. I mean, that's insane. That's crazy. Okay, but watch this. Now, here we go. Let me show you the Google Doodle for the day. There you go. Okay, now if you go to this and you click on it, a lot of people don't know that how this thing works. Watch. Okay, so now the way this works is you can grab this thing and move it around, and you can go all over the place. Look at what is that shining down? That's a star as the spotlight on this guy. Now I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know there's a lot of stuff going on the clock. I'm not going to get into the clock, don't care. But I want to show y'all some stuff you should be watching. You should be watching right here. Right here. You should be watching right here. Right here. And as you look around and you scroll this thing around, you'll see that there's a lot going on. So there's a Queen of Hearts, and I'm going to use that as the bait that was used to get the fall of the stars. Because have I not said you are gods, but you shall die like men, you shall fall like one of the princes. So let's watch this guy. Let's see. Let's watch him dance around for a sec. Okay, so now he's showing a bunch of stars. He's under, that's the spotlight is a star, like maybe Lucifer. Watch. Now all the stars go back to the sky. That's interesting. Now let's watch where this guy goes. So a bunch of guys, by the way, I forget the name of this guy that this is for today, but this is for a guy that's an illusionist. What did I tell you the host body was yesterday? The biggest illusion ever perpetrated. The human host body is an illusion. Why do you think the Little Deviants commercial, it shows, a Little Deviant, they come from underground. whatever, bringing demon brothers. The sheeple are compliant and make for fine ingredients for customizing anything. Here come the little deviants. And the demon puts on a suit of sheep skin just to show you that they're wearing our skin. To, our suit of lies, our body, biggest joke there is. It's the biggest trick on everybody. So anyway, now these guys come out of the box and they jump out. Here they all look the same. Look. Here we go. Okay, now let's see. Now this guy's got a jack of clubs. But look what his reflection is in the coming from the star. See? You see the reflection coming from the star? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hearts. There's not a number on it, just 6 hearts. Remember I told you the whole system is, let's see, V and V. Let's see if I pulled it up. Let me go back this way. We're going to pull up the whole system. The whole system is twins. It's a double U system. You're going to need to see this before this next part of this little doodle. So I'm going to pull up the twins folder. And remember, I told you, they love the letter W because they know it's a mockery. Because they'll take the Roman numeral 5, the number Roman numeral 5, or a V and a V, and then they'll intersect it and it'll make the letter W, representing the Cain and Abel U, the good U and the bad U, the double U. Get it? The letter W is a mockery to make a good U and a bad U, a double U. So right there is the perfect, there it is. Perfect representation. Okay, so, wow, look at my random image that just popped up. The quadriga, that's interesting because that comes into play here actually. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to our little video. Okay, now this girl, let's see. Uh-oh. Hang on one sec, folks. There we go. We're using this one. Let me just see where we're at. Okay, because there's some different stuff going on. I'm going to slide this one over here. This is it off YouTube. But see, this girl did have a halo, and it turned to horns. Okay, now let's watch. Because up here, there's this going on in the back. There's this going on. And then there's this going on. Okay, so he's got his own reflection. Let's go back. Okay, so he's got his own reflection. There you go. And his reflection is these 6 hearts on the ground. And there's a queen right there. Oh, you mean maybe like the Queen of Heaven. Look how it's right side up and upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait till she comes out and let's count the hearts on her dress. Okay, now watch. Let's look up what the meaning of a jack of clubs is. The jack of clubs right here are the 24th card in the deck. They are associated with Gemini. I'll copy that. I'll do Google Images. I'll paste it. The Jack of Clubs is associated with Gemini. Gemini or what? What's Gemini? The twins. Oh, wow. So the Google Doodle, the Jack of Clubs, is associated with Gemini. Twins. Okay, well, let's click on it. Let me show you something. They're associated with twins. The Jack of Clubs is also considered card of the future in the deck of cards. and it is used as one of the symbols of the androgynous state towards which the race is evolving. Oh, you mean like parthenogenesis, where you have a male and a female, but instead they get hybridized and they end up forming a new species that reproduces via parthenogenesis, which is virgin creation, which is the opposite of the Lord God. Wow, that's pretty intense. Now, let's watch this guy take on his identity. So he took on his identity and he walked through it. Now he's become the Jack of Clubs. And look at this. There's a club in the middle of his forehead, but there's horns on the side of his head. That's pretty perfect. Look at the horns and the club in the middle. And he took on that identity and he came through. And now he's standing on the 6 hearts. Let's see what happens. He picks up one. Uh-oh. There it is. Let's count her hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 6, 6. And now they've joined together. So now begins their the whole dance, like which is a representation of this whole thing we're caught in. Watch. Now this is fascinating. So he pushes the fishbowl and then everything turns to an underwater scene. Is this telegraphing New York? What's with the big S up there? Let's just hit play and see what's up. That was definitely an S, wasn't it? Oh, the star turned to something else. So right here, there it went. The star turned to S. That's interesting. There's a crescent moon here. Let's just look around. Okay, now pay attention right here. And pay attention to what's going on over here. So we have our little cosmic dance. Does this represent what's going to happen to New York? I don't know. Maybe. But I know he finds a pearl here. It's interesting that trains are going by. And by the way, you can go around this whole thing the whole time and see what's going on in a 360 fashion. And let's go back to these guys. And then she turns, watch. So then the queen turns when she puts the heart in front of her. Watch what she turns to something else. Watch. Oh, wow. That reminds me of what happened to the king right here, this guy. That reminds me of this, doesn't it? That's weird. The Lord told me, look up parthenogenesis, and it just happens to coincide with exactly what the Google Doodle is. I find that insanely bizarre. Let's keep watching. Now, you see this big thing right here? I mean, that's interesting. And, I'd like to watch the whole video just looking up sometime, see what's going on, but so now he finds a pearl. He gives it to her. Everything changes. Let's look up now. Now all the stars are on strings. It looks like they're coming down now. Now they're all being suspended by strings, whereas before they were up there in the sky, weren't they? Let's keep watching. Now, this is very, very odd. I mean, what does this book represent? Look what happened. Is that the Bible, maybe? I don't know. But look what happens to everybody. As soon as the book falls over, you know they're trying to outlaw the Bible already in California, right? Outlaw the Bible. That's so crazy. Okay. Okay, what's this? This guy looks kind of like a locust, maybe. Here's the devil. This guy's in a skeleton suit now. I'm not really paying attention to the clock, except that I know the time stops. Now he grabs her and runs off with her. Let's look around for a second. Look what's going on here on this stage. Pay attention. Look at the disposition of the faces now. Look what, let's see, up here. Okay, now look. Y'all have heard it's not over till the fat lady sings, right? That's, like a reference to, an opera where she's like blurting it out, that final note. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. Uh-oh, everything's burning. It's like, uh-oh, this is very interesting. Let me try and go back and change that. I can't. I'll just, okay, I'm sorry guys. There's a little bit of a glitch in this. I don't know, the Google Doodle's glitching, but let me show you one more thing before I get to this part towards the end. Let me show you what happens to his eyes. Remember, we're in the twin system, the double U system. And what happened when Adam and Eve partook of the fruit? The serpent said their eyes would be opened, but they became spiritually blind. They became completely spiritually blind. Now watch what happens to this guy. Watch. Oh, look, he's embarrassed. Gets a heart. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. Are those two double? Is that a U? Is that a U? There you go. She took the heart. He had already come through, and he's become a double U. That is, look at his eyes. Look, there and there. Okay, so now they go into this next scene. But let me show you something very bizarre. If you pay attention to this video right here, these two, they're like twins. They look like two magician twins. And then something very strange happens on the wall. Let me find it. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, so I told you earlier in this video, wouldn't it be strange if we could tie this together? I mean, how weird. I saw Mark Dice and the Boy Scouts are no longer the Boy Scouts because the whole society wants to go to a gender neutral. Like also to this, virgin Genesis thing. In the end, a woman will compass a man. This female energy is taking over. It's really fascinating. Watch this. What is this right here? So here's two twin, like sorcerers. You see them? One, two. Two twin like sorcerers. What is this? Do y'all know what 100 N is? I recognize that from my physics. 100 N, newtons. Do y'all know what newtons are? Newtons are a measurement of force. Let me give you a quick understanding of newtons. A force that can hold things together, or in an equation, it is used as a number to describe a force that is being exerted on objects, or the force of gravity as opposed to the weight of an object. So newtons is a very important force when you're dealing with the laws of physics. So you see 100 N, and there's a star right there. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Weird. Check this out. These are all men with beards dressed as women in tutus. See it? Ballerinas. Let me see if I can make that larger. We're at the 2-minute, 10-second mark. Let me see if I can make it larger. Let's see. 2-minute, 10-second. Let's find that. There. So here the twins are, and they're sorcerers. See the 100 N newtons? And then we have very conspicuously a star here representing those that fell. Look at this. Why are all the men dressed as women ballerinas? Why are these men wearing pink? Men, women, that's a man with a beard. That's a man with a beard and mustache. And they're dressed up as women. A man dressed as a woman. It's really quite bizarre. What's 100 newtons doing in there? What is this caught in the net right there? What are these? What's caught in the net? What are those? Well, let's take a look at this. That's very interesting. They're not trying to outlaw the Quran in California, but the Bible. It's funny because in the Quran, allegedly homosexuality is an offense punishable by death. But they're not trying to outlaw the Quran, just the Bible. The symbol for Islam also on a lot of Islamic countries is a crescent moon. I find that fascinating. Why are these men all dressed as women? See all the men with beards dressed as women? Bizarre. Let me show you what newtons is all about. Let me show you what newtons is all about. Okay. Okay. So let me give you an idea to understand the force that you're dealing with. Okay, if you're looking at this is a scale, like kind of like a fish scale, but it measures newtons. So if you have 100 Newton here and 100 Newton here, and this one force is on a pulley going this way, and this one force is on a pulley going this way, what does the scale read? What would this scale read? The scale should it read 100 newtons, 200 newtons, or 0? The answer is 100 newtons because you have 100 newtons of force exerting itself to keep that from unbalancing, let's say. That's a good way of saying it. Because if there was a greater force on one side, like you're applying mass of something, then it would not be balanced. The balance would go out and everything would go, to the side of the heavier mass. And so let me give you a quick little video so you understand what newtons is about. Why would they put newtons up there with men turning to women?
Well, you've submitted your answer. Let's see if you got the right one. Did you say 10 newtons? This surprises a lot of people.
But by the way, he's not talking about what I just showed you. If this was 10 newtons and this was 10 newtons, then the force exerted on this scale would be 10 newtons. But because this is 100 and this is 100, the force exerted on the scale will be 100 newtons. If this was 200 and then this was 100, it's going to change the balance and it's not going to hold it. It's going to pull this way. So to balance the scale, you'd have to add another 100 over here. Do you understand? In order for those forces to equal out, there has to be a balance. You understand? I used to have to do problems in physics dealing with elevators going up at certain speeds, and there's, a certain amount of weight for people in the elevator. And then if someone, you have to deal with, acceleration due to gravity and stuff. If it's going down and someone jumps up in the air and then they land on the floor of the elevator, how many newtons were, some really difficult questions. I used to remember like, oh, this is going to give me a headache. I used to just like, who cares? Those were our physics tests. Anyway, so watch this.
Let's find out why it makes sense. Think back to the situation that I showed you when we first started looking at the scale. I was holding the scale vertically and I had a 10 Newton bottle of sand on it. Here's the 10 Newton bottle of sand. The only difference between that situation and this is that instead of me supplying an upward force of 10 newtons to hold the scale, this bottle is supplying the force of 10 newtons to hold the scale. So in any case, the scale is being held from moving by a 10 Newton force pulling on it. So we have the 10 Newton weight that we're measuring, and we have the 10 Newton force the other direction, which is holding the scale stationary, and so the reading should be 10 newtons in either case.
There you go. Okay, just a quick little explanation. I know a lot of people, most people haven't taken physics and you don't know what that is. But, I saw it and I'm like, what's 100 newtons doing up there, man? And so just to prove it, let's see. So just to, kind of vet it out for you guys. See, 100 newtons, that's the force exerted on a star. And there we have all this energy in the form of a bunch of gods that are being transmuted, gender neutrality. And what's happening is that balance is going out and the balance is changing and everything is changing. And that's what this whole weird, bizarre Google thing is. And this guy, by the way, that they're doing this for was a French illusionist. And everything's about to change. And they're giving you a curtain call right here. Watch. They're showing you what's coming. Let me turn that down a little bit. Yeah. So they're showing you what's coming. And look right up here. Watch right up here. Look up here. Look. The end is coming. That's what's coming. Nice. I like the way they put the W on the eyes. The star represents you, a W. And that is just so bizarro. And when the rocket ship takes off, let me pause that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's just make sure we got this right. How many by the way, who points are on the statue of, so I can barely see, guys. Crown. There are, what do the 7 points of the Statue of Liberty crowns represent? New York Statue of Liberty has 7 points representing the 7 seas. Yeah. It was invented by the guy who invented the Eiffel Tower. Okay, so there are 7 points on the Statue of Liberty, and it's very odd that it flies up and it hits the moon in the eye. And, there's a lot of other stuff going on. And then one eye gets hit it. There's one guy on the bottom, and it's very strange because That does not look right. If you look at this, don't look at his beard. Look at that more like the mouth. Look at the dark right there is the mouth. See that right there? Look at that more as a mouth. What is it? And he's on the bottom upside down, and they're on the top. You got your two V's, very bizarre, and you got what? Something that looks like a nuclear bomb in one eye. I mean, spaceship, whatever. This is cryptic. That's why they use the Jack of Clubs. So I will defer to the Jack of Clubs again. So let me exit full screen and let's go back to the Jack of Clubs. The Jack of Clubs is considered the card of the future. Well, what's in there? What do they show? The devil coming out, everything burning. It is used as one of the symbols of an androgynous state. Do y'all all know what androgynous means? Let me just give you all the definitions. Androgynous. Plato states that the work of homosexuality is not shameful. This is one of the early written references to androgyny. Androgynous. Having characteristics or nature of both male and female. Don't you think it's weird that the Lord put parthenogenesis in my mind this morning, right after I saw the Mark Dice video, which means that you have male and both sexual species having male and female, which hybridize to form C, which has both characteristics in one body. Wow. And that's in the Google Doodle, the Jack of Clubs. The Jack of Clubs represents an androgynous state toward which the race is evolving, and they have men in tutus dressed as women. Wow, that's what the Google Doodle's all about? Freaky. And today, Mark Dice
bowed even further to the liberal agenda, which wants a genderless society.
Because that liberalist agenda is the devil. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, there it is.